I know you've told this story on other podcasts, so we don't have most new stuff, but I do want to get your take on this story because I am interested in certain aspects of it. This story of you bum rushing Paisley Park in '89. I guess your senior year in college, and you had been sending demo packages to Prince, I guess, to Paisley Park, and so you were tired of them being rejected and not answered. So what happened?
Absolutely. I'm in last year of school in college, and I'd already started sending out my little demo tapes, throwing them out there, and got back the standard. You remember when they give the rejection letters, when they actually sent back a reply?
Yeah.
Okay. I got like 3 or 4 of them. It was like, you know what? Screw this. I am going out there. So I became long distance pen pal friends with Matt Bliston and Eric Leeds. Eric Leeds and Alan Leeds is from Pittsburgh. I was going to school in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University.
And Alan Leeds, that's big. Alan Leeds comes back all the way going with James Brown. He used to be James Brown's tour manager, main manager. And his younger brother, Eric Leeds, is a great sax player who played with Prince for years. Yeah.
And I literally contacted the Leeds family in Pittsburgh and lied and told them I was a touring musician and I lost Eric and them's number. And
there you go.
And give me the number again because I'm flying in from Paris or something
like that.
And they did. So I was like, bet. So I started calling them up like, yo, man, look, I'm in school at Duquesne and I'm trying to get this demo to Prince. You got to give him my shit, man. He was like, wow, you in school at Duquesne? And you got my number? I said, yeah. Listen, on with that. Listen, get this stuff to Prince. So they were, Prince is working them like dogs. And at that time, do you remember Mark Brown's awful group Maserati?
Yeah.
Remember that mess?
Yeah.
Well, they were occupying time and space and money, and Prince was mad. He was pissed.
Okay.
He was pissed because they were losing money, and he had wasted all his time, and he wasn't listening to demos. I was like, I'm not letting Maserati fuck my shit up. I'm getting to this man.
Right.
So
got you. He wasn't feeling demos anymore.
I was like, fuck Maserati. I'm not feeling this. So I said, we going out there. Why not?
Yeah.
What is it? He's a person. He can be found. So I just started researching where he lived. His mansion was in Excelsior, and the studio is in Chanhassen, Minnesota. Okay. And I was like, okay. I went back to my father.
That's pretty hard to find that out, by the way, in '89.
Well,
you can Google it.
Well, you're right. But this is before computers and phones and all that, so I had to actually get on the phone and harass people and
That's pretty resourcewful.
The old telemarketing way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by this time, when I went back and asked my father, don't give me anything for Christmas. Just give me money to go drive to Minnesota. I'm gonna rent a room at the college. I'm going to Prince and get a deal.
Bam.
And he said, all right, don't sign anything until, you get back with me. He gave me the money, got in the car. We drove back to Pittsburgh and drove from Pittsburgh to Minnesota. It was like 16 hours on speed in a snowstorm following a tractor trailer. We get in, go find University of Minnesota, get a room. The next day we get up, go to the mansion in Excelsior. Now, his mansion in Excelsior had a big, huge purple windmill in the background. And it was the only house on the block with a big purple windmill. I was like, this got to be Prince's house. Who else in Minnesota is going to have a freaking,
Right.
So I go up to the guard gate, have my little demo tape. Now I know I'm not getting in, but I'm bold. Right. I don't care. So I go up to the guard. I'm like, listen, I want to give Prince my demo tape. He's like, you are bold, and I like you. Paisley Park is 10 minutes around the corner, this way, this way, this way. I said, bet, come on, so-and-so, we going to Paisley Park. So we get there, and the gates were open, which meant you could still drive into the parking lot. Driving to the parking lot, Prince used to have these BMWs. Had a yellow BMW, had a purple one, a black one, and they all had his little symbol and shit on them, And then he parked in his own little parking spot. It was like him. It was like, well, him, okay, whatever, okay. I'm trying to get in him. So I used to write these notes. Dear Prince, I drove 17,000 miles to give you my demo tape. Peace and love, Star Colors. And I would open up his car door, put the notes in the car seat, put them on his windshield. I was real bold, and young,
Right.
like 19. I'm not even legal to drink. I'm like 19 years old.
Right.
I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't give a damn. So they were like, finally called us. They were like, hey, listen, you can finally come in. Miles Davis is leaving to go do something, because that's when Miles Davis and Prince was doing some shit. I was like, well, good, Miles. Okay, can you get out so I can come to the studio now? Because you too famous for anybody to be there, right? Thank you, Miles Davis. So he finally gets out. So I go in, and I have not that bass. I had my Fender Precision 4-string.
Okay.
And on my shoulder, and a bag full of cassette tapes and bad pictures. And I'm literally roaming through Paisley Park, like up and down the balconies, on the list, like looking for him, like, okay, he's got to be around. When I finally bump into him, and literally bumped into him, like, bam, almost knocked him down, because he's only 3 feet tall. And he has a huge head. Prince's head, I love him and I know he's gone, but his head was as big as that body of their guitar.
Oh man,
I'm serious. With the bouffant and the he was gorgeous. He wore more makeup than I have on now. And I didn't have on hardly any. I was like, damn, I gotta learn how to do this. He was gorgeous. And he looks. And the manager, who was Steve Fargnoli, remember from the Purple Rain movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He says, oh, hi, hun. Oh, you're Eric Leeds' friend? Oh, go ahead. You can go ahead and talk to him. And he leaves me there with him to talk to him.
Right.
So I'm like, thank you, Steve Fargnoli. He walks away. Here I'm standing here with Prince. He's staring at me, and he's going... So I'm like, look, Philadelphia. Hey, man, I done came from Philadelphia to give you my demo tape. He puts out his hand. Give me a hand. To shake it. Try to pull it back. He pulls my hand and does this the whole time we're talking. So keep pulling. He's pulling my hand the whole time. I'm standing here going, well, here, let me give you my demo tape.
Yeah.
You know, because I know he got to go. And he's standing there looking at me. He goes, well, there's certain things you have to give it to Alan Leeds upstairs. And I said, listen, man, I sent Alan my stuff. I got back the letter. I'm giving it to you. All right?
Word.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I'll tell you what. You go take this upstairs to Alan Leeds and you tell him, if I don't get your demo tape tonight, I'm going to kick somebody's motherfucking ass. I said, snatch. Okay. Snatched it. He's still standing there watching. I'm going up the steps to Alan Leeds' office.
Yeah.
Go in the office. Boom. Mr. Leeds. Prince said, if he don't get this demo tape tonight, he's going to kick somebody's motherfucking ass. He goes, come on, darling, come sit down. And so I sit down at his desk. He opens up his top desk drawer. In the top desk drawer, all my demo tapes rejected in bad pictures. He goes, is this you? I go, yeah, that's me. He said, oh, we didn't know who you were. He'll get it. Blah. Come on, sit down, relax.
Wow.
Is that a lesson in who you know? Wow. Then the next day, I get called back. He's like, well, bring your bass. You're going to audition with Prince and them. Sheila E was the drummer. Dr. Fink was on keys.
Sheila E and Dr. Fink on keys.
Can you believe I played with Sheila E, Dr. Fink, and Prince?
Yeah. That is a hell of a band.
I mean, all right. So I'm like tripping because now, after all this craziness, I'm actually going to play with them. And, of course, Prince is late. So they're in the studio room looking across and I'm in the playroom like this.
Yeah.
Bent down, holding my bass, waiting for him. The techs have tuned it and I'm waiting for him. He comes in and I'm not lying. A mist of smoke billowed into the room.
What?
Then he, sashays in. He has on a black and white suit, head to toe, boots, scarf, shoes, everything. Bouffant up. He's gorgeous. He's holding in his hands the notes that I wrote him and left in his car. Oh. And he starts reading them. He goes, dear Prince, I drove 17,000
in front
miles
of everybody?
In front of everyone.
Damn.
He's reading my notes. And I'm mortified now. I'm mortified. I'm like, oh my God, I'm mortified. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm mortified. Then, say that amp is me. He starts walking around my body in a circle, y'all, walking around me in a circle talking about, yeah, you know, I'm hard on musicians. You know, I expect my musicians. I've never seen a girl bass player. I never seen no girl play bass. Then he goes, is that your boyfriend? Yeah, you know, I'm real. He's looking through the glass at the guy that's with me. Okay. Okay. So he's having this dual conversation. So he's like, yeah, you know, I expect my musician to do this. Then he looks and goes, are you sleeping with him?
Oh, man.
You know, I ain't never seen a girl bass player. Well, I don't know, but are you living with him?
Oh, man.
I'm sick of this Gemini shit, okay? I'm like, you know what? Enough of the Gemini crap. I stand up. Of course, I'm taller than him. So I back him into the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, did you listen to the demo tape or what? He goes, I listened to your demo tape. I think you have a lot of talent. I think you have a lot of potential. I want to work with you. I think you could be good. He takes his guitar, puts it on, looks at me. He goes, come on, it's in B flat. And just starts playing. I pick up my bass. I start playing. Sheila E comes in, gets on the drums. Dr. Fink comes in, gets on the keys. Now we all jamming. He is tripping that I can play.
Yeah.
So he's like in and out my face. He's twirling around. Oh, a girl, damn, you can play. Okay? And I'm like, you are psycho. So I just keep playing. Sheila E screaming, going, just ignore him. Just lock with me. Just lock with me. Ignore him. I'm like, you're right, because this motherfucker's crazy. So then he starts soloing. Then he says, are you solo? Then I start doing something else. You know, bass. On the bass.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, now he drops to his knees. He's like, what's going on? You can't do that. I'm like, well, you just said to do that. What are you, crazy motherfucker? Oh. So all of a sudden the tech comes in and goes, Miles Davis is at the airport. He needs help. So he throws his guitar up in the air. The tech comes out of nowhere, catches the guitar. Prince runs out. Sheila runs out. Fink runs out. I'm standing against the wall, hold my bass like,
wow.
Sheila comes back and says, listen, Prince said we can keep playing with you. So Fink and her come back in. I finished playing with them. Then she says, come on, let's sit down and talk. Sheila and I sit down and talk. She says, you know what? We're all really impressed with you. You know, Prince is highly impressed with you. We've never seen, you know, anyone like you, and he definitely wants to work with you. And we talked about being a woman, you know, in the business, how difficult that is. And she gave me a bunch of pointers about that. And she said, you know, I've never had to audition for any gig I've had before because of being in Escovedo, right? You know, you know where family is, right?
Yeah, we know.
And she said, I've always just got the gig. Yeah. She said, I could have never done what you came in here and did. That was insane. We're blown away. And I'm like, nice. Well, cool. You know, all right, Sheila. Yeah. You know, so next day, it says, Prince is going to call you. So mind you, this is before the cell phone. So I'm sitting on top of this one phone in this boarding house.
Right.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's Minneapolis in January. So it's like 30 below zero. All right. So I'm in there on top of the phone. I'm like, I don't care what's going on. Nobody's getting this phone till Prince calls me. I'm literally holding the phone hostage in the place, right? Like nobody gets it. So he finally calls. And first an assistant calls and says, Prince is going to call you. Then he calls. Okay. So he's like, hi, this is Prince. I just wanted to thank you for coming out. And I really think you have a lot of talent. And I said, oh, no, thank you so much for seeing me. He's like, I don't want to tell you what to do. but you could stay here with me while I finish the Lovesexy album, and then we could go on. And I'm like, I don't want to be a vanity or an Apollonia.
Right.
You understand what I mean? I don't want to be none of your women's.
Yeah.
I just want a deal. Okay. Yeah. All right. And he was definitely coming that way. And I was young. And people were like, girl, you should. I was like, you crazy. I got more respect by saying no.
Right.
Okay. And telling him that I'll see you when you finish that. And I'm going to go back to school, finish doing what I got to do. Mm-hmm. Of course, the next time I see him is like a year and a half, not quite 2. And I'm with George Clinton and I'm hired by P-Funk. Mm-hmm. And George is signed to Paisley. So when he sees me again, he sees me with George Clinton and P-Funk, and he's like, what are you doing with George and the P-Funk? You're supposed to be with me. And George is like, yeah, no, she funkadelic. She ain't going nowhere. And George and Prince actually started a war over me.
Yeah.
And it was insane. Prince wanted myself and Michael Hampton and Belita Woods to come over. Mm-hmm. And George was like, hell no. She's funkadelic.
Yeah.
She ain't going nowhere. So there's a lesson, people. Don't let big superstars control your career without you knowing.
Well, that's amazing. Let me ask you, because we're getting ready to ask you. I want to see you perform a song here live for us. But I just want to, something about that story is like really amazing. So this is going back years and years and years, way before Me Too or anything like this, right? And then you were so young, and you were obviously I wouldn't say starstruck, but very like enamored with this scene. Like you drove all the way there.
Totally.
You're putting the notes on his car, right?
Totally,
You're walking around Paisley Park looking for him. Yet somewhere along the line, and I can feel you because I can kind of relate to your headspace. Like something about how it was going, kind of, I could say it annoyed you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like some people are so starstruck they'll let people treat them like. I'm sure Prince was used to that. Like let them treat.
Oh well, he definitely. You know what I mean? That's why he ended up having so much respect for me, and I wish that we would have been able to stay in closer contact as friends, because I know I could have been a positive good to him, because I would have kicked his ass about that. What he fell into. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What gave you like? Where did that presence of mind come from? Is that like kind of part of your upbringing, or like what? How did you know to like? Because you stood your ground like really well on that.
I would definitely say from trying to be like my father. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My father was the hero. He was strong. He was intelligent. He was not taking any crap, and he was supporting this daughter who was different. Yeah. And I think it just came, from that. And of course, my mother's also a educator and a teacher too, and a true debutante, much more of a lady than I am. I should try to be more of a lady like my mom. Maybe one day, but right now we on a mission, y'all. We on a mission.